Hello, everyone. Welcome to Victorious Voices. My name is Arturo Soriano. My pronouns are he, him, his.
Yes, and we are Victorious Voices. I love that. My name is Niki Martinez. My pronouns are she, her, we. Ta-da! And here we are, making it happen for y'all.
How do you feel, Niki?
Today I am feeling very grateful and motivated. A little jet lagged, but that's a physical feeling, so I guess that doesn't really count. But kind of like mentally sluggish, but also basking in, like, my mind is blown, so my feelings are like explosive right now. That's how I'm feeling, actually.
Awesome.
How are you feeling?
I feel content, motivated, overwhelmed, a little mixture of all these different feelings, but happy to be present in this moment with you. So I'm excited about this podcast, Victorious Voices. Excited to be reconnected with you and continue to be a voice for the hopeless.
Yes, I love that. So y'all know normally what happens is whenever we're coming into spaces, I always like to start out with a quote. And I feel like it's just kind of with what Arthur said and thinking about everything, that we've gone through as a community. I think about just what we need, where we've been, where we're going, and how we're moving, and what we're doing. So with that being said, I normally start out with a quote, and I'm going to have Arthur read the quote because the quote is on the back of my t-shirt. So there's that. Ready? Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
You got on your peepers? Can you see my shirt?
Let me get my reading glasses
Okay,
on.
yeah, put them on. Put them peepers on. Ready? Go.
Yes. I am not free while any woman is unfree, even when her shackles are very different from my own.
Yes.
From Audre Lorde.
Yes.
What does that mean to you?
I feel like freedom is it's such a broad term, and also there's so much meaning behind it: mental, emotional, physical. But the shackles in which we have are those the ones that we place on ourselves, but also the ones that the system has placed on us also. So I think when we think about freedom and the concept of freedom and what that looks like, I feel like I'm in this fight, moving and grooving, in hopes that we can find true freedom, no matter what those shackles look like. For somebody that did 25 years, my shackles look a little bit different because my shackles were ironed on. They were metal. They were on me. They were wrapped around me. They were put on my ankles. They were put on my wrists for years. And I look at now the population, and I see that so many of our people that have been system impacted, formerly incarcerated in some way, shape, or form, we have all been in these situations, in these circumstances where I feel like the residue of them shackles still remains, and it's really unfortunate because then that's what creates the illusion of the shackles of the real iron shackles on us. So I'm in this fight. I'm definitely in this fight to see those and those that have been impacted, to see them free, for sure.
Wow. And as you're explaining that, like, I have this mental image of myself in the segregated housing unit, and you could hear every sound in there, whether it's the COs, their keys, the trays, the slots, and the shackles. And so they would come into the cell, make you turn around, shackle you, and you could just hear the clink, clink, clink.
You know what would drive me crazy? Is when they would bring you back to your cell and they would pull them chains off of your waist, and it's hearing each one of those chains hit that port.
Yes. Yes.
Man.
And it was such a relief to be off them chains. And
Yeah.
sometimes it would be coming from a visit, right? From a family or a loved one coming to see you. But it felt relief from the chains being unshackled, but relief into a cell.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy is we were having a conversation, and what's crazy is how the system has us so conditioned. And some of times those same shackles meant freedom. Those same shackles meant I get to go have a visit. I get to go out and talk finally to somebody. Somebody's gonna actually hear me, you know. And it was like, how convoluted is that? That when we hear those shackles and when we get chained up, there's some type of joy in us knowing that we're getting ready to have some type of human interaction. We're gonna see our family. You know, we're gonna go talk to a doctor. Like that's insanity. That's what that created for us. You know.
And it becomes a norm. Like
So
you're
now.
going to the medical, the lineup, a visit, professional visit,
Yep.
and you're able to possibly see another individual. So that gets you excited, and
Yeah.
your heart's beating, and
Yeah.
like it's alive, but you're not alive.
Not at all. Not at all.
So I am very, very proud of you, Niki Martinez.
Thank
You're the new deputy director of Sister Warriors.
Yes.
And I know that this has been a passion of yours of being a strong activist for women and being a support for them and being a voice for them. So I am so proud of you.
Thank you.
Really, really proud of you, of your journey, re-entering back into the community, connecting with youth empowerment. You were with us for years.
Yeah.
You helped us establish many programs within youth empowerment, and you found an opportunity to now do something that drives your soul. I see you traveling everywhere. You were in Puerto Rico yesterday, and jet lag, but still
Yeah.
came over here
Yeah.
and took the time to be a part of this Victorious Voices, right?
Yeah,
And
this is
represent.
regardless, this is my home base. Like you're my mentor, you know? Like you're my mentor. You were such a strong you're such a strong part of getting me and helping support me mentally, emotionally, internally, and where I needed to be for myself to help me feel secure, to help me feel safe, to help me feel like I am capable, I am competent, I am adequate, like, and then nurturing that friendship back into me. Like, you've been my mentor through it all, you know? I accredit you because I know that I wouldn't have made it as far as I made it had it not been for you on my side. You're my biggest fan. You know what I mean? You're like my number one fan and the one that believes in me the most. And I think it's been you're the male version of me, and I'm the female version of you. So I think it's been just a gift to be able to have. Timing is everything. You know, when I came home at the right time, and you were in the right space for us to be able to build such a strong relationship and rapport that helped us build not just a friendship and a relationship, but also too with the organization. You know, so I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for you. That I know for sure.
I could say this. How can I say this? My wife is, of course, the first one that knows everything about me,
Yeah.
and you're about 98%.
Yeah. That's me. That's me. Yes.
Yeah, so that's the type of relationship we have.
Yeah.
I'm here. I want to support you.
Yeah.
Anything you need, be an advocate for Freedom Warriors.
Yeah.
Let's build that relationship and be a strong voice for the men and the women.
Yeah. For
So-
the men and the women.
So what's your new role? Like, what are you doing?
So this is what I'm doing right now. So Sister Warriors Freedom Coalition is two parts. We have Sister Warriors Freedom Coalition and we have Sister Warriors Action Fund. So we're a 501c3 and we're a 501c4. So the good thing about that is we are allowed to go behind folks and we are allowed to endorse them, right? So that's the part of the C4 component of it. The C3 component of it is we have a bunch of different things that are going on within that as far as a nonprofit. To paint a clear picture, Young Women's Freedom Center is an organization that has been up and running for the past 30 years. They're in Oakland, San Francisco, San Jose, Los Angeles, and Alameda County. Oakland, San Francisco, San Jose, I want to say Sacramento, but and LA. So the amazing thing about that is they've been running their organization for 30 years. In the movement, all of that. And we're a sibling to them. Sister Warriors Freedom Coalition is a sibling to them. They kind of focus more so on the youth people. With Sister Warriors, we're focused more so on the people that have been impacted by the systems, right? But it's really for women, girls, cis women, girls, and trans folks of all genders to help support them in advocacy. The biggest things, our pillars are basically like we want to end extreme sentencing for incarceration. We want the prisons and jails to stop profiting off of our people. We want family reunification. We want to prevent families from being separated, right? And we want economic opportunities for our people. Like that's the basis of it. We have a freedom charter that we created. So in 2017, Sister Warriors had a convening. I believe it was in Oakland. I wasn't home yet. And they all came together, and there was like a 3-day workshop where everybody was coming together figuring out what do our people need? What do we want, and how do we want to see this moving forward? As a result of that, the Bill of Rights was written. 2019, there was another reconvening. And with that reconvening, we ended up coming up with the Freedom Charter, which is 12 articles of what it is that we look like. So the Freedom Charter was based on Nelson Mandela's apartheid that he was doing out in South Africa and wanting freedom for the people in South Africa. So what we did is Bill of Rights, it could be changed, it could be altered, right? But we didn't want that. We wanted to fight for something that what freedom genuinely looked like. What did that look like? And so folks from all over the state were coming and they were saying, this is what I need. This is what we need, right? We need the right. I have the right for self-determination. I have the right so that people can respect me in whatever gender I choose to identify. I have the right to be respected in that way, right? So we came up with there was 12 initially. I believe that there's 11 now, and it got minimized down to 10. So we're still trying to figure out what that's going to look like, the last 3. But our Freedom Charter is our North Star. We launched Freedom 2030 in 2020. We all went to Sacramento right before COVID hit, right? There was probably about 500 of us that went that day and the crazy thing is all of the senators, all of the assembly members, all legislation was there because they were trying to figure out what to do with this thing, COVID, right? What are we gonna do? What's our next steps? We were there was about 500 of us talking about the Freedom Charter and how we wanted this to be for our families, for our people, for our folks on the inside, for our folks on the outside that experience incarceration. So now what we're doing is we're working towards this Freedom Charter and what that looks like. And it was like the 4 pillars that I had said. We want to end extreme sentencing. We want our families to be reunified. We don't want everybody in SHU should have a family visit. Everybody in SHU should be able to touch their family. But their children should not have to go without feeling the loving arms of their father. Like they should not have to do that, you know? So it's fighting for those things and creating the policy that's going to help support making sure that happens, right? So that's really what I'm doing right now. We have a couple of grants that we're working with. We just lifted. So I'm also lifting up all of our chapters that we have in the state of California. We have a chapter in Tehachapi. We have a chapter in Bakersfield. We have a chapter in Hanford. I want to uplift a chapter in Fresno. And then we have a chapter in San Francisco. We have a chapter in Oakland. We have a chapter in Los Angeles. So we're on the rise of building up all of these chapters so that we can help support the vision of what the community needs without supporting the systems that are oppressing our people and causing more harm and thinking that they have a solution. And what I don't understand is if we're talking about mass incarceration, we're talking about it. That's what I was doing in Puerto Rico, was the National Council of Formerly Incarcerated Women and Girls, right? And when you think about all of that, building more prisons doesn't help or solve a problem, right? So what does that look like? Tearing the systems down, but also having systems in place that are going to help support our folks. But obviously the systems that are in place have only caused harm, have only perpetuated violence to the communities, and they're not providing the right resources that our people need. And our people know what our people need. Like that's the thing. Our people know what our people need. And so this is a good way to put throughout all of these chapters, giving them the information on how to create a bill. Like, how are we going to write this bill? How are we going to get this to legislation? How are we going to get something like this passed so that it will help the community come together and it will get the money back into the communities the way that they need, so that it can empower them and we can have those leaders. There's so many folks formerly incarcerated right now that are getting their college degrees, that are getting ready to go up to legislation, that are getting ready to sit in office. Like, they're really doing it, you know, and that's what we're doing. So that's really what I'm doing, is helping support that and building that up so that we can get our people in office. We can get our people to start voting. Like, that's one of the things too. It's like we don't vote. We don't vote. It's not a priority for us. But also too, we have to be those. You and I have to be those voices to encourage our people to make sure that they know that they should and why they should and why it matters. Because policy and politics can get a little like, oh man, I ain't got no time for that. Like I don't want to hear all that. But really, in all actuality, then we can't, in that same breath, complain about certain things that these systems are doing to us because we are not doing what our part in trying to change that. And the reason why we're not is because the system's already failed us anyway. So it's what is the point, So just staying in line with empowering our people. We have so many young leaders too. Tehachapi, I want to raise that chapter up and just lift that chapter up. There's 12, 13, 17, and 19-year-old females out there right now going to city council meetings, talking to the board of supervisors about what they need in their community, and I'm just like, that's what's up, So that's really what I'm doing. And aside from that too, I wanna uplift the Mandela Campaign that I've been working on for the last couple of months, and that was AB 280, and that's to alter the solitary confinement because our folks have been in solitary confinement for decades, man, for years, without any human contact, without not getting a phone call, not coming out of their cell, not getting, and you know what I mean. You could speak to that, but and it went to and it passed. It didn't pass supermajority, and we wanted it to pass supermajority. And last year we had a similar bill, and Governor Newsome vetoed it. And he was like, I really want to help support this. It's ripe for reform. Like this, and California is so behind in that. Like New York, New York just passed the HALT Act where humanity, I can't remember exactly what the HALT stands for, but the HALT Act. So they get meaningful time outside of themselves with self-help groups, with college opportunities, with meaningful interactions. In California right now, they're not honoring that, and they did something scandalous this last week. And even though we got the AB 280 passed, it got put on the shelf for a 2-year thing so that the governor wouldn't veto it. So, but it's important. It's important.
I'm so happy and for the community,
Yeah.
by the community, and we have this platform, Victorious Voices,
Yeah.
to educate the community in
Yes.
voting and educating them on their rights as well.
Yeah,
Like
for
and
sure.
their freedom and protecting their rights. And the work that we do is similar in different ways, right?
Mhm.
And so I've been working with a lot of individuals that have been in the system, accused for murder charges, 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds, adults, and being present and going through that process of working with private practice, lawyers, public defenders.
Yeah.
And I see the injustice because I have access to read all the discovery,
Mhm.
all the details of the words being expressed. And I've been feeling this burden of challenging these systems. And normally I'm a relationship builder.
Yeah.
Like I have a lot of great relationships built with systems, right?
Yeah.
Leadership, and we've had the blessing of doing that, and I'm still all about that.
Yeah.
But when I see the gang detail and police department and their subject matter expert in this field, and twisting this and saying this to make it sound like this so the jury could believe this. The courtroom trials are like one of the most intense arenas in the world. Like once you're up there testifying, you could hear a pin drop and everybody's just attentive and everybody has a purpose why they're there.
Yeah.
And there's one voice that's being expressed
Yeah.
while it's there. So for the community, the advice I have, like, if you're pulled over for a crime or something, you're being accused of something, the best policy is don't say nothing. Don't say nothing.
Man.
And even if you think that by you speaking, you're trying to get yourself out of something, they're building up that communication to build up a theory against you. And you might not even be guilty, but you want to talk, and just because you're going to speak, you're going to get yourself out of it. That is not the case. And I see these communications lines through the discoveries and paperwork, and I'm like, why? Why did this individual
Well, because
say
this is the thing, though. This is the thing that's the thing that infuriates me, is because it's when you think about how what is the word I'm looking for? How regular, for lack of a better word, right now, all of a sudden, your Miranda rights are, right? You have the right to remain silent. There's no long words in that. It's a complete sentence. You have the right to remain silent, and for whatever reason, when we get that, because it's so conditioned into we're normalizing how we hear it, we totally don't even realize the power in that right. And I'm telling you, like, if I absolutely agree with you, but here's the thing, and this is the thing that
they manipulated.
Thank you. The thing that infuriates me more than anything is because yes, the police have a job to do, to serve and protect, not to freaking manipulate our people into a box in which they're now all of a sudden they have exasperated charges against them because they chose to say two things, and then next thing you know, they got new charges on them. You know what I mean?
And there's a strategy. There's a good cop and a bad cop.
It infuriates me.
And they're gonna go into that interview, good cop, bad cop, and they're gonna go in there for hours and hours and hours till you're like mentally drained. You don't know what's going on anymore, and you just want to say something just to
get out of the situation, the circumstances that they placed you in.
So community, just as hard as it is, like, just don't say nothing. Protect your freedom.
Yeah.
Right? You have the right.
You have the right. We have the right to remain silent. Shh. I know I don't never remain silent, but I know I have the right to remain silent, and I will definitely use it. I would definitely use it because I learned my lesson too.
Yes.
Because when I started going through the Miranda rights, because I was a juvenile, right?
Yeah.
So one of my things was, how are you even allowed to interrogate me the way that you interrogated me without the presence of an adult?
Yes.
I was a juvenile. Like, yes. I didn't even know what the right was. You know what I mean? So now it's like I think about all of that, and it's like, and that's the thing that they used against me. Is because it wasn't like they brought it from Berkeley and had to, you know what I mean? I didn't need any definitions of any words. I was able to completely understand what it is that they were telling me, and that was their argument back to me. That we didn't say nothing fancy for you. You know what I mean? It was real small, real limited conversation, yes. Limited language.
Yes.
You know, so.
Yeah. So we have an opportunity here with Victorious Voices to the voting and the education component, or definitely like connect with some lawyers that we can have as guests.
Yeah.
David Shapiro, Private Practice, he's big on that.
Yeah.
And he has these videos, like, follow him on Instagram.
I've seen him. I did start following him.
Yeah, what's his famous quote is, protect your freedom, protect your rights,
yep.
And
yeah,
right?
Zip it. Just zip it.
Zip it. So definitely Victorious Voices, we're gonna have this platform, and of course everything that we talk about is uplifting the individuals that have been impacted by the justice system,
mm-hmm.
their healing, the impacts of trauma they've been through, and it's always connected to the lived experience. And we're here to dismantle the school to prison pipeline.
Yes, absolutely. And it's so important, and I think that's where the work ends up complementing each other, right? Because you're in the schools doing all of the preventative measures right now and doing everything that you can to stop that school to prison pipeline. I'm on the other side trying to at least and I think that's the one thing too, like our folks that are coming out, like there's a lot of folks that are coming out that are getting their college degree. So now it's the prison to school pipeline, right? Let's educate our folks. Let's get our folks educated so that they can go in there and they can go to that Sacramento, so that they can go to the legislations. They can have those conversations about their lived experience, but we can also put them in office now. You know, and I think that's the thing that's so empowering for our people, you know. But of course we want to stop that school to prison pipeline. Why? Because we know that there's no solutions, and this is the thing too that's been coming up a lot lately, is because CDCR has a tendency of wanting to pat themselves on the back for all the programs that they're offering inside. But really, in all actuality, it was because we as the people and as the residents of those institutions wanted more and started screaming out and crying for more, and knowing that we needed to do something so that we could learn to heal ourselves. the good thing about you guys is you guys are in those schools right now talking about those emotional literacies, talking about those coping skills, talking about how we can help grow these individuals so that they don't want to go to prison, you know?
So what that looks like is a 1-2 punch, right? And it complements the work that we're doing. So we're excited for our next episode coming up for Victoria's Voices. Stay tuned. Before we split, Niki, check us out.
Yeah, so, I just really want to say, being in spaces with people that have been so systemically oppressed, so marginalized, so deprived of opportunities, and also to have been stripped to their core by the system and harmed in ways that is so sometimes unimaginably able to repair. It's like I have a tendency of thinking like, dang, how do you come back from something like that? Like, how do you come back from that? I was in the space with somebody yesterday, and they did 40 something years, and 30 of those years was in solitary confinement. And I just think, and they are a phenomenal human being. And I say that in the video, anybody that can survive a cage and come out here and function and be still sane is a phenomenal human being, because I don't think people understand. And I know we all endure different traumas and we all endure different life circumstances and hardships, but I just feel like it's something so different when we're locked in a cage. And I saying that to say, I am so grateful for the people that are boots on the ground, that are making the difference in every way, shape, and form that they can. I'm so grateful for the people that are overlooking and looking and able to see that there's a change that needs to be made. And we probably are not going to see it in our lifetime. But they're still willing to stand up and fight and do everything that's necessary to give those people hope. I'm getting ready to go inside, and I feel like just me breathing inside of an institution is going to give people so much hope that it brings me joy, and I feel like I'm doing exactly what it is that I'm supposed to be doing. And I think one of the things too I want to pass on, I would really encourage folks to read Pedagogy of the Oppressed by I can't never say his name right, so I'm not gonna slaughter his name like that. But it's such an important book, and it kind of puts things in a different context and in a better perspective on the things that we endure. But I think also too it's about us empowering our people, despite what we've been through, and having that critical pedagogy that we have to have. We have to have that. And I think that's the thing too that's kind of pushed to the side, is like we don't have those conversations, but that's something that we have to have, because once we realize that that's rooted in us, then it builds the movement stronger. It builds up our people stronger. It builds up those leadership qualities stronger. It gives us the ability to know, what, I can rise. I do deserve to rise. And I think that's one thing I want to say. Like, all of us have gone through something, and all of us have gone through something, and there's still so much in us, in the fiber of our being, when we think about what it is that we've survived, and knowing, if I can still sit here and I can survive through that, just imagine, and be able to tap into that imagination, right? Because if we're talking about a radical change, then we have to be able to tap into that imagination and see things on a different perspective, but also empower ourselves and know that we have the ability to be something stronger, better, and different, and do different. So,
and for our people, all the impacts of trauma that they've experienced, from system-induced trauma, the complex, the acute, the chronic, the generational trauma, to all the causative factors that contributed to their behaviors, and then the emotions that come with that, the anger, the violence, the resentment, self-medication, fear, right? And so the healing process, it's all a healing journey. And in this process, we hope we can encourage the community in everything that we're talking about. And this is continuous. Like, we're here, we're support for the community, for one another. Whenever we're feeling froggy or something is messing with us mentally, I could call Niki and have a conversation. She needs to do a little better job of answering her phone, but I could call Niki.
Now he's getting on here being messy. You hear this? Wow.
But we love you, community. We love this platform, and we're going to be connected with y'all. So thank you.
Thank you. Y'all be good to each other and be good to yourselves. Let's do this.